Hello, today is Friday, 4th of February 2022, and I was about to do like a series on Mars through the houses, and I thought in the light that we are going to be, well, it's Friday for one thing, day of Venus, and secondly, we're also coming very fast approaching Valentine's Day. Let's do Venus through the houses, and what better day to start this than today? So I'm just going to give you the indications for Venus, and then we go on to discuss how it is when it is in your first house. And obviously this is all using a sidereal zodiac, and the condition of Venus will be like, I'm just pretending it's got like no conjunctions, no aspects, just the pure Venus through the first house. And obviously this Venus is going to be completely different depending on whether or not it's in Scorpio or Sagittarius or Gemini, you know, so they're all different. And also the nakshatras make a difference too, because they will definitely refine that. And obviously it's not just nakshatras are 13 degrees 20 of a sign. They have 4 padas as well, so each pada is different again. So there's a lot to think about, but anyway, let's start. So I thought I'd just go through the indications for Venus. So Venus is all about balance. If somebody was to say to me, what would you just say would be, you know, like if you were to give 3 things to explain what Venus is, I would say Venus is about balance, it's about self-love, and it's about good choices. This will be how I would describe it. I wouldn't describe it like what people may think, you know, this that's why people who have got good relationships, and they, even if they were to come out of one relationship, they soon attract another, it's because they just got that understanding that they can be generous, you know, and they can see the big picture. So anyway, let's start. So keywords: love, passion, relationship, union, choices, values, obviously the arts, self-love, grace, partnerships, beauty, non-judgmental, generosity in all things, diplomacy, fairness, interaction, family, artistics, and kind of, I would just say things to do with, you know, aesthetics really as well. Fashion, cosmetics, perfume, flowers, paintings, good food, travel, vehicles of any kind. So it could be anything from a scooter, bike to car, or even an airplane. It's pleasant, it's about luxury, it's about charm, sensuality, unconditional love, expressive, social grace and awareness, and it goes on. So, and it's also, I think I would also just add, there is like appreciations of all things and seeing beauty in everything. This is when Venus is quite balanced. And as we know that in the natural zodiac, starting from Aries, it rules the 2nd and the 7th house. So Taurus, which is a fixed sign, and this sign is also earthy. So you know that Venus is obviously a feminine planet. It ruling the 2nd sign of the zodiac. It rules the face and also the neck. So it's about choices, turning right and left to actually see when is a good time to cross the road, if you like. And they know what's good for them, rather than they wouldn't make a choice. A good Venus would not go for somebody who looks good. They would just kind of think, because it rules the natural 2nd house of the zodiac, it's about family. What is this relationship a good investment for me and for my children? You know, for my values, does it add to my values? They wouldn't be straying, even if I don't know, some magical handsome guy or Adonis of a guy, or some Aphrodite will come through. This is really all about that kind of having that value. And and obviously, because it rules the second natural house of the zodiac, it is a feminine planet. When you are gracious towards feminine things, which is like environment, females, women, female energy, women, mothers, and everything else, it naturally helps kind of that respect. It could even be from one woman to other. It doesn't have to be from a man to a man to a woman, and actually from a man to a man. Generosity, being kind, money flows in. So I just want to add here as well that Venus is friendly with Saturn. Venus rules the second house of the zodiac, which is money, resources, and also the money, the savings that you have, money that you have in the bank account. And it's friendly with Saturn, and Saturn rules the 11th house of the zodiac. And so that again is another house of gains, financial gains. So these two planets work together really well, because in a relationship you want to be, obviously, see the beauty in the person, also be there for them during the times that they are sick, they're unwell, growing old together, being a pillar for each other, looking after, having each other's back. And this is the reason why often when people can't find love, it's because they can't love themselves. And what it creates this issue with back problems, because obviously Saturn rules your structure, also there's the sun, but it's like skeletal system. So lack of support. And this is when you can really help yourself by just starting with self-love, doing rituals to really get the Venus in your chart strong. And I always say this, planets that are really fast moving, like Venus, Mercury, Moon, and the Sun, they're really easy to get results quickly out of them. And just be persistent, but always thank God and universe for everything as well. So, and also Saturn is again brings that stability to Venus, and it shows that with time things get better as well in the relationship. So normally when you go into a relationship, the first couple of years are quite easy, and then you go through this more challenging times, because remember, when you get married, the first year is like woohoo. The second year is pretty good, you're helping each other to pay the bills and everything. The third year, so again, it becomes an upachaya, so it's a bit challenging. You have to put more effort into the relationship. And again, the fourth year can bring you more comforts, because you got the accumulation of the wealth. You might just change home to a bigger home, or you might actually buy a home together. And you might have kids after that, sixth house, there could be that you get yourself into debt, all that kind of stuff, basically. And then from the seventh house, you start traveling, all that kind of stuff. But so relationships have also go through all these stages as well. And anyway, let's go back. So second house is all about family. It's your speech. So it's always good to try and always leave the person with a kind word, and because I think people never forget your kindness and generosity, whether it's in words or gestures, something like that. It's always magical, and it's also rules senses, with this, something, all those. And I really love it, because my own daughter, she's really good at this. She's very good at explaining, like when she smells something, she can really use all these words to articulate a particular sort of smell or taste or something. It's lovely, very Venusian, that is. It's also to do with what is good for me. And it also rules the seventh house of the zodiac, which is about attraction to the other, and that whole romantic thing, romance and being together, and gets your heart chakra because it rules the heart chakra, so it gets you excited, pumping the blood around your body, which is obviously Mars gets the passion going, and stimulation, interaction, going out, being more sociable, social events, in, you know, as I said, interaction again. And also it rules kind of dealing with other people, being generous and diplomatic and creating harmony with others, and you know, that kind of stuff. And also it's debilitated in the 6th natural house of the zodiac, Virgo, when it's all, everything is on the microscope. You know, you did this and you didn't do that, and last Sunday, you know, you dropped a pin on the floor or something like that. You know, it's just like really being very critical, and just knocking somebody down for something that, you know, does it, okay, some things, you know, you got to say, but other things, you know, just doesn't have to be a big deal really, so you can overlook certain stuff. And just always remember, when you're going to say something, just always remember the good things and balance things out really. And it's exalted in the 12th natural house of the zodiac, which is the house of sex and bed pleasures and good sleep, having that when you put your head down, you're just like rested, you know, it's beautiful. Also, this is the house of devotions, and devotion, God, spirituality, and the bigger picture. So that's another word that I would use for it as well, is devotion. Obviously, Venus will be very different according to, you know, as I said, the situation with it. But if it's normally in front of the sun in your chart, so it will be, I don't mean in the same sign, I mean in front. It will be much more ta-da, I'm here kind of Venus, whereas Venus, if it's behind the sun, it's more introverted, not so extroverted. So anyway, this is the bit about Venus. I'm now going to do through the houses. Thank you for watching. As I'm doing this Venus through the houses, I'm approaching Valentine's Day. It doesn't need to necessarily be because of that. I actually wanted to just tell you, I had this is Michael Mastro's and his wife Robin's book, you know, Making Room for Mr. Right. It could be for Mrs. Right too. And I bought this book because Michael, I mean, he's a fantastic Vastu expert, and he's an architect anyway, so it's just wonderful putting the two together. And he actually did Vastu for my property, and kind of remedied some of the issues, because actually this property has got so many issues you will not believe. But since then, it's been really brought a lot of happiness into my home. So, and this has got a wonderful, obviously it tells you about, more than anything, saying to you that if you want somebody, love to come into your life, you have to make room for it. So if your house or property or your flat or your room is full of clutter, you kind of like, the energy is a mess in your environment. So fix your environment, get rid of anything that no longer serves you, and start making it beautiful. And it gives you lots of different things. It's also got like a full moon ritual thing that you can do. It's also invites you to do intentions and write down exactly the sort of person that you want in terms of like physically, what do you want them to look like, financially, emotionally, spiritually, which is fantastic, really amazing. So it kind of makes you really think about what you want, because I think often people want love, but they haven't really, never really thought about how, you know, what sort of love they want. And I think right now is a really good time to start thinking about what type of love you want, because we have just been through, well, we're still going through a really difficult patch in the world, and what you thought you liked 2 years ago might be very different to what you look for now. So this would be a perfect time now to start thinking about what you would like. So anyway, it has lots of different tips. It's got beautiful full moon rituals that you can do. So amazing. And I just wanted to show you, because I love yantras. It's also got like a yantra for Venus there. which, you know, I don't know if you can actually take a picture of that, and I'm sure Michael wouldn't mind, and just print a few things, few of those, and then start colouring the yantra in whatever colour you like. So, you know, these kind of things reiterate your message of love to the universe, that's what you're looking for. And be open, you know, like do Venusian things, start treating yourself really well, and the universe will start treating you well. Thank you for watching. Venus in the 8th house. 8th house, we're just going to go through the indications for the 8th house. So 8th house is obviously a Dushtana house, so it's going to be a difficult house. And whereas 6th house is sickness, acute sickness, this is like chronic sickness. This is house of divorce, accident, sudden changes, which then become like big transformations in your life. It's house of astrology, the occults, all things a bit hidden, really. As I said, divorce, surgery, sudden windfalls or losses in life, psychotherapy, self-help, psychology, healing, anything supernatural, abilities to or awareness of things that are hidden, a bit like psychic abilities, channeling, things like that, wanting to explore. It's obviously house of sex, but it's also it can also be exploring it, you know, because this 8th house is research, scandal, control and manipulation, deep emotions. It's house of control, self-control, self-empowerment, as is obviously 12 houses from 9th house. So you go through those difficulties, changes, transformations, feeling out of control in life before the awareness comes in and goes into the 9th house. So it's kind of pre-awakening house. It's connected to mysteries and mysterious situations, but you're also attracted to somebody because Venus is attraction, love, things like that. So it's also that side of us that there's a particular thing that we're looking for, is that kind of mystique, attraction to and these people will have like sensuality, sexuality, sexiness about them. This obviously Venus, I mean, I'll come back to Venus again, but it's house of holding on to resentments, taboos, chemistry, sexual chemistry, connection through sex. You know, sex is a big part of this house. It's house of research, as I said, spine, trolling, you know, depending on how bad it's the sign is and everything. And secret societies, it's like a roller coaster in life, up and down, up and down. We've got no control over it. It's like it's allowing us, because it's a moksha house of surrender. So we're learning to just let go and just be okay with changes, okay with letting go, okay with having no control over anything. It's remarkable, really. It's obviously your secret love life, paranoia, trust issues, bondage, intimacy, psychological healing, your in-laws, things like that. It's also how you get an idea about how your in-laws are, really, 8th house. Now, excuse me, having Venus here now, Venus is a teacher, is the planet of prophecy, planet of enjoyment, of love, and really sort of having no discrimination in love in any sense, is in the 8th house. So obviously these people, you could be attracted to people who are into the cults, people who are kind of psychic, or your partner could have premonitions, very strong premonitions, because that's 8th house, and that kind of thing will bring you together, because that's gives you the bondage, the things that you share. And Venus is obviously all to do with things to do with rejuvenation of the body. Therapy is, as I said, it's a teacher without prejudice, is resuscitation, is refreshment of the body. It's the planet that kind of heals your through self-love, because it's a counselor and advisor, particularly if it's connected to the 5th house. So those are the kind of things that you're looking for in a partner, that partner that can you can have like above average connection with. So these people will find that when they are together, because these kind of very hidden things has brought them together. So for better, for worse as well, because it's either 8th houses ups and downs, so it can be sudden gains, sudden losses. So they got this thing together. It's almost like you kind of think about them and they suddenly message you. Their feelings and their intimacy is very, very interlinked. And sudden breakdown, and they get into relationships very quickly and they out of relationships very quickly. There is like this sudden attraction. The sexual level can be through the roof depending on the sign. And obviously we are talking about Venus that's got no aspects, no conjunctions. But obviously the sign has a lot to do with how things are. But it's there's like a bit of enigma about the person who has this and the people that they're attracted to. That's what they're interested in. And the love, devotion, and the depth of intimacy is very, very strong, a strong bond. So when things break up, the heartache can be really felt. This is literally when your heart breaks. So, and also this could be wealth as well. So the partner could be wealthy if the condition is good, or the in-laws are wealthy. And obviously having the planet of diplomacy and love, and also grace, having that in the 8th house, it says a lot about the in-laws, the family that you are coming into. And also your partner could have like secret income, so they could not necessarily let you know about everything. So that's another thing. But there is always this kind of thing that you might have met the person before and had a secret affair with them before it was revealed to the world. So you can definitely see that, and you can also see that there could be something, particularly if you feel. I mean, it doesn't mean that everybody's going to have a love affair or anything like that. It could be that somebody doesn't want it reveal to you their past love life. That's, to them, is finished. I'm with you now. I don't want to look back. That kind of thing. And there's also you can see that there is definitely, with this sort of situation, there's always a really deep connection. So even like being in each other's presence is very intense. It's really intense feelings, really, how they are, towards each other. Obviously, you see like depending on the sign, Venus being in sign of the sun will be can be quite egotistical. It will just be very can create kind of paranoia in the person, because sun can just like suddenly leave the relationship, and it will be very, the person could be quite wounded for a long time, thinking what went wrong there, and having no idea what went wrong. So it can kind of feel quite, so somebody with that kind of thing will have to really work on that. Let's okay, so Venus is also to do with all kind of luxuries that you have. And because it rules your cars, your vehicles, and things like that, you need to keep them in really good order, because eighth house is breakdowns. So, make sure you have like insurance covering that kind of stuff. Also, if K2 is in any way either aspecting or anything like that, or conjunction, make sure you look after your tires, because there is something about K2. K2 likes to just puncture things. So yeah, look after your tires. Make sure you have plenty of air in them before you go on long voyages or long car journeys. I definitely would say that, because I can vouch for that 100%. You definitely, if you have this in your chart, you want to keep your car in really good order, and so you want to make sure there's no damage. So there's always some kind of secrecy to go with that Venus, so just be aware of that. And but there is a healing element that goes with the eighth house too, because things like Reiki, using crystals, any form of thing is going to be really healing to you, because you also, if your eighth house is good, you're very receptive. So the more receptive you are, the more you're going to gain from it too. And also, eighth house, natural eighth house of the zodiac is Scorpio, and Scorpio obviously is Mercury waters. It's like a lake, it's kind of stagnant waters. So this is like emotional things, and we all have that in somewhere in our chart. But it's interesting that you could also be, your lover could be from previous life. So it could be that you met somebody in a previous life, but unfortunately you didn't get time to during that lifetime to bring this into fruition. So in this lifetime you meet, and you kind of almost instantly know that you are meant to be together. You just know that, you both know that, you feel that kind of thing. It's pretty amazing, because of the eighth house being a karmic sign, because it's co-ruled with Mars, isn't it? Eighth house of the natural zodiac is ruled, yeah. So as I said, you could be meeting each other before, and you also got some karma with your in-laws too, in that sense. And these people are very, very intuitive. So even if they are, for example, Venus is very much the teacher, and but they're also intuitive teachers. So as they're teaching you something, all of a sudden they have this eureka moment where they can actually give you more information. And these are the people also that when they are together, one starts the word and the other person can finish the sentence. So they can be so intertwined in love. And obviously you need to have, if you have this in your chart and if it's not in good condition, you need to have your boundaries in place, because obviously this is very emotional house. It's a natural eighth house of the zodiac, Scorpio, so we tend to hold on to things there. And this is why it can create real bad problem with constipation, actually, because this is like excretion. It rules anus, this eighth house, so it's just letting go. So you can't let go, and it can actually create absolute havoc with your digestive system. So, but you find that because if the better the condition of Venus, the more helpful and loving your in-laws are, and they could be like almost like your second family, that they have this massive connections with them. 11th house is fourth houses from the 8th house. So you know that networks and friends bring you a lot of happiness, and also brings you gains, because you need to connect with others, and makes you happy and very content and secure in the relationships groups that you have. 7th from it is obviously your second house. So it is now you have like a particularly if it's a good planet for your ascendant, you now have this wonderful planet of refinement, aspect in your second house of family. So you know that these people will place a lot of love in their family, in their values, that kind of thing. And and then 10 houses from it, from the 8th house, is your 5th house. So this is like what you want the to actually reveal to the world, like you're in love, you're looking for somebody who can give you children, who's educated, you know, that kind of romance and all that stuff are part of how you want the projection, your public image with your partner will be like. So these are the things that create that. Now let's have a look at the ascendant. For Aries ascendant, this will be your 2nd and 7th house ruler in the 8th house. So clearly it shows that particularly in early years, when we're actually still getting used to life and stuff like that, up to sort of mid-20s, you're going to have a lot of ups and downs in relationships, but you're going to learn and get educated on those things. And because it's also aspecting your 2nd house naturally, which is ruled by yourself, and your 2nd house is Taurus. So, and it's a house that Venus rules, so it's really protecting the 2nd house of income and values. You start putting like your boundaries in place, because also Taurus is a fixed sign. So from early age, you start learning all these things about love, about self-love, and you are literally putting it in what would be like a bank account, a savings account of values. Now, every time you're in a relationship, you're learning more and more to the point that because Venus is choices, and definitely Taurus is about choices. So what you're doing, you're actually you're investing in yourself, in your future, and these are the things also that, because this 2nd house of the natural zodiac is our very, very intimate family unit. So these are the things that you want to pass on to your to your own children. So you're learning through these difficulties of life, and you're investing in yourself, in your future. And it can give you transformational relationships, difficult relationships, emotional entanglements in relationships, all those kind of things. But at the end of the day, you are going to learn a lot about investing in yourself, making better choices. And it might give you a divorce. It might give you wonderful in-laws, very wealthy in-laws. It might make your partner to be somebody who is also very sexy, very sensual. You might have had a secret affair with them before you got together. It doesn't mean that you were like cheating on somebody. It could just be that you secretly used to meet, you didn't want to reveal things to the world, but now you are letting people know that yes, we're together as such. And this will be a really, anytime Mars and Venus are involved, it's a really chemistry-based, deep connection, very, very love relationship. So they got this wonderful thing going on, and they will just enjoy all the eighth house. You know, they will be playful with each other. They will put a lot of energy into their sex life, into being together, that kind of stuff. For Taurus ascendant, their 8th house is Sagittarius. So Venus here is obviously not in a good condition. It can give you a partner who is constantly like preaching. So that's what I mean. I love Jupiter, and I have to be careful because I've got Jupiter in my own. I've got strong Jupiter, and it is a pain in the neck. But you know, you've got to also love these things, and you learn that even Guru and the planet of this is what my teacher taught me. You know, people always think that Jupiter is like this great benefic, but it can give you a lot of problems. And so, yeah, so if you have Venus in there, I don't have Venus in there, but I do have a very strong Jupiter, and I have to be careful with that because I have a planet in Sagittarius, which is, so it magnifies things in that sense, expands, as they say. Anyway, so Sagittarius, for them will be the 1st house ruler in the 8th house, 1st and 6th house ruler, Venus. So they literally have to go through massive changes, massive psychological changes in order to really kind of get to know themselves in a sense, because Venus rules them. And those changes that they go through, the more they kind of do, if they kind of keep constantly attracting the wrong people, the more they invest in their psychology, in their psyche, how they are actually finding love, the better the love becomes. Because in reality, they want somebody who is into their cults, into all things to do with the 8th house, but somebody who has also transformed themselves from the 8th house Scorpio to the 9th house Sagittarius. Because even though obviously this is what they want somebody to actually really connect on a much higher level. They've got similar sort of views about life, belief system, somebody who's spiritual, can see the bigger picture, somebody who is who's cultured, who wants to travel, learn, and be very expansive in their mind. And so it's not necessarily a Venus sexual chemistry thing in that sense. It will be a Venus that's growing, because obviously Venus rules their 6th house Libra. And now 6th house stuff is gone in there. Somebody who wants to serve others, serve women, be cultured, teach those, because 9th house of natural zodiac is that. Somebody who's self-taught as well, because they've grown through that kind of stuff. So that will be for Taurus. For Gemini Ascendant, Capricorn will be becoming their 8th house. And for them is 5th and 12th house ruler going into the 8th house. So they could, obviously, you know, they could have a lot of losses in romance, because they could completely go for the wrong people, because they are thinking that they want somebody who is quite, because obviously 12th house is loss and 8th house is also losses, and both houses are secretive. So they just literally can get that romantic thing a little bit wrong, in the sense that, you know, they could invest their sort of emotions, their love and their time into things that are a little bit like, you know, there's kind of like this level of misunderstanding between the person and themselves, because Venus goes in there. Venus in the 8th house of Capricorn is the natural 10th house of the zodiac. So they're looking for somebody who's successful. But that success can also give a lot of changes, you know, can bring a relationship in for sure, because they could meet that person at work. But there could be a bit of misunderstanding, in the sense that they meet them at work, and they have this secret affair, say at work or something. And or in an educational system, you could say as well, because 5th house is education in that level. But the person is completely different on the actual, when it comes to the world things, you know, it's not who you thought they were. That can happen with that, because you see them as this very strong personality at work, very much in control, very sort of poised and intellectual at work, and you find that at home they're completely a loss. You just like, it's completely like a different person totally. Obviously this gives you secretive romances and secretive bed pleasures, that kind of stuff. But it could also be that the person is also comes to, because this is house of 5th house is house of and because Venus is not in poor condition in Capricorn, this is house of investments, stock and shares, that kind of thing. And these people could have secret investments that you don't know about, or they like to play games, because 5th house is that kind of thing. Play games, you know, in the bedroom, that kind of stuff. That's the sort of thing they enjoy. And the other thing I was going to say, oh yeah, they could conceive a child in secret, and you know, they could get married and you didn't know that they were actually pregnant before. Good luck to you, why not? And for Cancer Ascendant, so this will be like Venus will be their 4th and the 11th lord in their 8th house. So this could be like you could suddenly gain a home through your mother, or secret investments of your groups of friends you could meet through, there could be that some, secret gains through your friends or something like that. I do apologize for that. That sometimes happens. This could also be because Aquarius is the natural 11th house of the zodiac anyway, and Venus already rules the 11th house of the zodiac and the 4th house. So you could gain a home as soon as you get married, a really luxurious, big sort of home. Or you can also be that your partner is highly humanitarian. They could be working on things like, for example, bringing water to some part of like isolated, quite barren villages, and they go and do community work with their friends in order to help them. And they don't really want any recognition for that at all, but they quite like to do that with their groups of friends. I've heard of these groups of doctors that what they do every year, a group of them get together, and it's never ever advertised. And they go and they say, for example, they have a weekend somewhere and they do like cataract eye surgeries for villages here and there, and they never discuss anything. It's gone and done and dusted, that kind of thing. And so it could just be that the partner has got a secret home, secret land, that they don't, these are the people who don't want to show off their stuff, that kind of thing. But it will be also there's a lot of happiness, because 4th house is happiness, isn't it? So there's a lot of happiness in being with their friends, with their lover, or all those sort of things to do. There's a lot of happiness going on with this placement for Cancer. For Leo Ascendant, this will be Venus in Pisces, so it's exalted. So Venus rules their 3rd and their 10th house, and now it's in the 8th house. So these there are secret things going on with their job. They're a bit secretive in the way that they communicate with their partner. A lot of secrets to do with their work, but it just makes them really happy. And these people could have connections through their work abroad, because obviously Pisces is faraway lands. So they could have all these. They could have secret lovers at work, or they could have met their partners at work. But whatever it is, it does give them an exalted Venus, which is pretty amazing. They would be having all these amazing friends, amazing communications. They could have been friends first, and then got involved in this secret affair or something. But this is quite nice placement. And then obviously, what it does for Leo Ascendant, that exalted Venus will be aspect in their 2nd house of money, which is very strong for Leo anyway, because it's Virgo, and Mercury rules their 2nd and 11th house. So just because of that, it's having an exalted Venus aspect in their 2nd house going to be really good for money. Amazing. So these people also will have a really beautiful voice, because Venus is exalted, rules the 3rd house of speaking, communication, but also 2nd house of speech. So it's pretty amazing, and very refined, very into like good quality food, want to deal with all the senses, luxuries, things like that. It will be pretty amazing. For Virgo Ascendant, this will be Venus, their 2nd and 9th house ruler, in the 8th house. So this is also, there could be that the person is not very close to their family. It could give you, when I say family, sort of father's family, that kind of thing. But it does protect the 2nd house of family, Libra, because it's aspecting Venus, is aspecting that. This obviously gives you a really passionate relationship, and is kind of very independent. They like a very independent lover, because even though this is like an 8th house, but very different to like Scorpio flavor, because they're looking for an independent, adventurous lover, adventurous partner. They want to like an active, that sort of person, you know. So very different flavor to that. And then we have but this can give slight problems with the father's relationship with the father, that kind of thing. And it could also create like a situation where there's breaks in your higher education, that kind of stuff. For Libra Ascendant, this will be Venus rules the 1st and 8th house, and Venus will be in the 8th house in its own sign, Taurus. Very nice. So this will be very good for in the sense that Venus is very happy with that. However, Taurus is a fixed sign, and 8th house is house of changes, sudden changes. So they are constantly, you know, because that is one of the problems with Taurus, is that Taurus wants to have stability, and security, stability means so much to them. So having 8th house now as a fixed sign that doesn't like change, and now is being pushed into changing. So for them, probably, you know, it's going to be difficult for them to let go. But once they do, it will be really, really wonderful. And what amazing in-laws they're going to have. They're going to be cultured, well-traveled. They're going to be really sweet and have money, lots of money too. So, and they'll probably gain through them massively. There'll be like inheritance stuff. Then for Scorpio Ascendant, Venus will be in Gemini. Now Venus is happy in Gemini. It's a friendly sign. It's Gemini, you know, the ruler of Gemini is not friendly with Mars though. So this could be that, you know, I mean, obviously it depends on where Mars is and where Mercury is and everything else. But I would imagine there's a little bit of like, because generally speaking, Gemini is quite playful, because it's quite an immature sign. You know, any sign that's ruled by Mercury, their Upachaya houses, Gemini and Virgo, they just get natural 3rd and 6th house of the zodiac. They get better with time. So they, you know, we all have them in our chart, and we all have Mercury in our chart. And those areas we're a little bit naive in, a little bit too curious. And this is planet of curiosity, rules this sign, and now Venus is in there. So Venus is curious in this sign. It wants to explore and everything. And they could, if they are suspecting their partner of anything, they will be looking. You know, there is this temptation to look at their phone and see what's going on their phone, check their sort of communication stuff. But if it's not that kind of thing, they have loads of communication. They chat, they do things together. They have loads of friends that they share stuff with. All their friends could be into this like secret things going on. Hopefully not secret societies that are awful and wicked, but nice ones, you know, astrology ones and self-help and Reiki, that kind of stuff. Because obviously this is the 3rd house of Hounds, natural sign. So they could definitely have that kind of energy where you're meeting to do like massage, stuff like that. So, and for them also, Venus rules the 12th house, 7th and 12th house rulers. So it could be like breakages in relationships, changes in relationships. But it will also mean that relationships will grow, and through travel, there'll be a lot of travel, and those sort of things will be transformational for your relationships, how it grows and how it evolves. For Sagittarius Ascendant, this will be Venus in Cancer. Obviously, Venus, it doesn't like being in Cancer. You know, it's not a friendly sign. But also for Sagittarius, Venus is not a good planet. So actually, by the sheer fact that Venus rules 2 Upachaya and difficult houses, 6th and 11th house, going into the 8th house, is pretty good, because It creates it creates a Raj Yoga called Viprit, which means through hardship, difficulties, losses, losing control, and life will be transformational and for the better. So there's a lot of growth in things that you learn and about relationships, and the more you become humble and learn, and you learn that relationships, things, obstacles in relationships, and how you are with in love, you learn a lot more. And because this is going in Cancer, and Cancer is naturally very sensitive sign. And so it's, to begin with, you might find that you attract partners that are quite sensitive. So it's like walking on eggshells to begin with. And then as time goes by, this gets better, things get mature, and we get a little bit robust with our choices, with our boundaries, and that will just create much better, much more successful relationships, which give you a lot of gains as well. So that's it definitely grows with time. A lot of learning and helping women, particularly sexually abused women, those kind of things through your groups of friends will give you a lot of happiness too, because Cancer is happiness, wherever we feel happy. And then for Capricorn Ascendant, this will be Venus in the 8th house, which is Leo. So this will be, for Venus is obviously their Yoga Karaka planet, so it's very important. So all their successes will come through some changes, some loss of control, some letting go, and just being okay with change and transformation. It does mean that some of the partners, because obviously wherever Leo is, we all attach a little bit of ego to that. And so we have to go through some sacrifices before we learn more about love, and be okay with changes, be okay to not have too much ego attached to it, and that kind of thing. I'm really applying what Leo is. Leo is about intelligence, and sometimes it's not about being right in relationships, it's about being happy. And it's not like a competition of, I know I'm better educated than you, or I'm come from a better family than you, but the fact that we are a union, and it doesn't matter about any of that. We're here for each other's, So yeah, that could, Venus can be very knocked sometimes, by Sun, and be this, egotistical planet or sign, anything to do with the Sun. It could be very much like self-righteous. So Venus has got to work through a lot of things, because Sun doesn't deal with not getting their own way. And Venus, being in a relationship is about not having your own way. It's about compromise. So this is, the more we learn about that, the better it becomes. And it does create a lot of intelligence in the relationship and learning about that. And obviously so much to gain from it as well. It's just like it's like 10th and 5th house, so brings so much riches with those changes and letting go of stuff. For Aquarius Ascendant, Venus in the 8th house will be Venus in Virgo. So this will be a debilitated Venus. Venus rule, again, Yoga Karaka planet, rules their 4th and 9th house. Very important planet. So these are the people who literally, they probably actually are the most amazing lawyers and things like that, particularly if 10th house is in any way, because they really can get into all of the details, stuff like that. But obviously it's there's a lot of things attached to that, where there's this is Virgo is sign of obviously it's also the natural 6th house of the zodiac, which is selflessness, service, and just being practical, using intellect. And so it's like not really applying what you apply in a courthouse to your relationships. But wow, what an amazing thing for these will make the most amazing healers, psychotherapists, astrologers. Will be amazing counselors, amazing at healing, just superb. And what an intelligent, intellectual, but practical partner you'll have. You know, he or she would just be like selfless, helpful, humble. So it's good. And you just like, because also it's rules the seventh house. Sorry, it rules the fourth house as well, and you can see that you know, it will just, the more changes you welcome and transform with them, the better the situation will be. And what amazingly wealthy, wealthy and wonderful and travelled spiritual in-laws you'll have, and that, you know, because Venus is looking at its exaltation sign. Then for Pisces Ascendant, this will be Venus in the 8th house, will be Venus in Libra. So this will be an amazing astrologer, amazing judge, amazing, you know, if it's particularly if it's, you know, anything to do with 6th or 8th house, 10th house. So this will be somebody who has, who's able to counsel people, and their voice will be healing. They can write blogs or vlogs, or do even classes where they can actually teach people how to elevate themselves and their social status, because Libra is about social image that we have, how people see us, and harmony and all of that, how to apply 8th house stuff to what is the natural 7th house of the zodiac, so we can actually have those amazing relationships with others through understanding, being humble, interacting with others, and communicating and expressing ourselves to our partner. It's also communicating with partner through sex as well. So this could be sex therapists too. You know, particularly 5th house is anything to do with that too. They can just like help people who've gone through a lot of difficulties in that department and allow them to just come out. Yeah, for sure. And they will have wonderful intuition, a really good kind of able to really get into the psyche of the person with lots of honor and grace. But this also gets better with time, because the movable sign, there is not restriction itself. It's kind of allowing the changes to occur. It's going to just go with the flow of life a bit more, so it's much more harmonious. So that's it. Lovely. I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.